Hey, what's going on, everybody? Not too sure what I'm going to talk about today, other than Harbaugh just getting it. I cannot wait for the draft to come up. But yeah, let's just kind of get into how how Harbaugh just gets it. So number one, I love the fact that they've got a trainer in there and not some anonymous medical staff. A trainer that I could go look up like Ben Herbert. Went and looked up some old archive footage of him giving a speech. And he's the same guy as he was back then now, except it seems like he's learned a little bit more. So I love that. Love the fact that he wants to strengthen these guys up, making them harder to break so that we have less injuries. We're going to find out how that works. Now, one thing about myself is I was pretty damn athletic back in my prime, which I'm way out of right now. And I went and got me a DEXA scan, right? And I found out that I burn fat for fuel, not carbs. But I will say this. I love the fact that Ben Herbert, he has these guys do the same test that I did, so he'll find out what fuels these guys' bodies and what makes them work. So he, in one of his older speeches, he had mentioned that the body's preferred fuel source is low glycemic index carbohydrates. And I'll give you a story about me. So the thing about me is I don't like to do like sprints and stuff like that. I like to do long distance, long endurance stuff, but not running, walking, or riding a bike. And one day I was going to Mount Charleston in Nevada, and I always had to stop when I walk up Mount Charleston. It's Mary Jane Falls. So I'd walk up Mary Jane Falls on Mount Charleston and have to keep stopping to catch my breath because it's a high altitude, and it's also, you're walking uphill for 2 miles, right? And one day I decided I'm going to go ahead and do my fast, and I'm going to walk up this mountain. I'm going to die, but I'm going to walk up this mountain fasted. I don't want to break my fast. Well, I was shocked to find out that I was able to make it up to the top of that mountain without stopping for the first time ever, and never had any problem walking up that mountain without stopping again unless I was out of shape. So the reason why I bring that up is because what I would do is I would carb up before going on the mountain and get tired when I get on the mountain, right? But without eating any carbs, I could get up the mountain with no problem. Now that I come to find out, me eating sugar or having a sugar crash or something like that, for some reason affects my body to where I don't have enough stamina to get up that hill without stopping. And I think that Ben Herbert has the knowledge to be able to talk to these players and get them in the same situation I was, where they're doing it wrong. This is what you actually need to eat on game day to make it through this game without getting tired or getting cramped. So you know how often you've seen some of these NFL players like on a football field cramping up. They don't know nutrition. That should never happen. You ate a couple of bananas before the game or even during the game, you would not cramp up. Why does a professional not know that? Because a lot of these training staffs probably don't know what they're doing. So we got a guy in there now that knows what he's doing, and I love it. You're going to see more Hulk-like transformations like that guy, Zion Johnson. Did you see that man? He is a beast, and I can't wait to see what happens when he trains more with Ben Herbert. Now, another thing that I like about Harbaugh is the priority is winning. You know what I'm saying? So for years and years and years, right, a lot of fans and podcasters, I don't really hear from the media that much. They want that splash and flash, but we've always wanted the team to go out there and get some linemen so that we can dominate the line of scrimmage. The fans know this, and finally the team is taking that common sense to heart. Now, something that I see that, everyone wants the wide receivers because you want to give Herbert a target. I'm firmly against drafting a wide receiver. Am I going to get mad if we get Neighbors or Marvin Harrison Jr.? No, I'd be very excited by that. But it would be the same feeling I got when Brandon Staley was coming in kissing ass on star players. I'm like, the star players are going to start playing worse with this guy kissing their ass and not holding them accountable. I will have the same sinking feeling if we go out and draft a wide receiver and we pass on an offensive lineman. Why do I say that? Because an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman, someone that can dominate the line of scrimmage, is a lot harder to find than a wide receiver that can make plays. Yeah, you're not going to have everyone's not going to have Jamar Chase. Yeah, he's an explosive player. He's a problem. But I'm sorry, Jamar Chase is not more important to winning than dominating the line of scrimmage. He's just not. Yeah, he can make a big play here or there. He can catch passes on third down. He can do that. But this guy is not more important than dominating the line of scrimmage. So to me, if the Chargers draft like a Joe Alt, that's what I want. I know the people are going to be mad and pissed off by that, and I'll understand it. But when it comes to winning and dominating the line of scrimmage, you're not going to get a chance to get a Joe Alt-like player in free agency. You're probably not going to be able to trade for him. You would have to draft that guy. And if we have the opportunity to get a rare player like a dominating offensive lineman and we pass on it, that to me, that's fucking up the game. And that's exactly what the Chargers have been doing ever since they lost Marty Schottenheimer. Another thing, we've been wasting picks. Like I'm sorry. I love Mike Williams, one of my favorite players of all time, but I was like, what the hell are we doing when we drafted Mike Williams? A player that I actually wanted was Patrick Mahomes, based on what Anthony Lynn was saying at the time. And then instead of Herbert, actually, I also wanted, so take this with a grain of salt. Instead of drafting Justin Herbert, I wanted us to draft Tristan Wirfs. Now, Wirfs won a Super Bowl in his first year, but it wasn't because of him, but he did help. He shored up that line. So, that'll give you some insight to the way I think. I always want to dominate the line of scrimmage, and I'm absolutely happy that we got Herbert and not Tristan Wirfs. Don't get it twisted. Now, another thing that I think is if you give Justin Herbert a running game, and I've said this over and over again in comments, but if you give Herbert a running game, time to throw, plus a defense with a pulse, he's going to be able to make plays. He's going to be pretty much unstoppable. The only thing there's two games that come to mind as far as example of being unstoppable. And they're not necessarily directly tied to what I just said. So one is that first game against the Miami Dolphins. You saw how easy it was for the Chargers to score over 30 points in that game because the running game was doing their thing. They were dominating. They were dominating all throughout the preseason. They dominated the first game, and then they just got found out. The league found out how to stop that rushing attack, and they were not a threat since because they didn't have like just a physical dominance like the old school Chargers under Marty, where basically people are still talking about this to this day. That power that you guys used to run. That power, it's just power. I remember Marty Schottenheimer saying himself, keep pounding them and pounding them and pounding them into the goddamn dirt. That's what I want to see the Chargers do from now. I want to see them pound teams into the goddamn dirt. We haven't been doing that. I hate when we go out there and we try to fool people. To me, it just drives me mad. I love to see the Chargers just grind a team into the goddamn dirt. Like, I became a Chargers fan in 1992. What were they doing? Grinding teams into the goddamn dirt. Went to the Super Bowl. Then under Marty Schottenheimer, they brought it back. They just grinded them into the goddamn dirt. One of the most obnoxious teams in the league that nobody wanted to play against. And then Marty Schottenheimer's gone, 14-2 season. What happens? Finesse under Norv, but Norv still kept it, a little bit rugged. And people could say whatever they want about Norv Turner. That team did not take a nosedive under Norv Turner. It took a while. So, and then we got McCarthy. I don't even remember much about that guy. I thought Anthony Lynn was a great coach, but I thought that he was hamstrung by how cheap the ownership was. They wouldn't give the man what he wanted. So I'm sorry, I don't hold anything against Anthony Lynn because they did not give him what he asked for. He said he needed a running. They finally gave him Herbert, which is what he asked for. He needed an athletic quarterback that could run around and make plays. He wanted Patrick Mahomes first. They didn't give him that. And then he got Herbert. So I don't know if that's who he wanted, but that's who he got. He loved Herbert. He wanted to protect Herbert. He went out and got a coach specifically to get Herbert ready to play. And when Herbert stepped on the field, he was ready to play. One of the things I keep hearing about people saying that Anthony Lynn couldn't figure out that Herbert was the guy. You sound stupid as hell. First of all, when Herbert was called to action, he was ready to play, and he was ready to play not because he was ready to play when he came in the league. He was ready to play because the Chargers organization got him ready to play. So when he stepped on the field, he was ready. That is bull crap saying that when people try to dog Anthony Lynn out, for not playing him right away. He wanted to protect this young quarterback, but when he was ready to be called on, he wanted to be ready to play, and that's exactly what happened. So I'm not trying to hear any of that foolishness. The other thing that I'm really excited about when it comes to Harbaugh is the fourth quarter and winning games in the fourth quarter. I can't wait for that, because when you look at like the Staley era, I went back and I looked, the Chargers were surprisingly good for as bad as I thought they were. They were 16-19 under Brandon Staley's, under his regime. Now I'm also counting 2 losses that came under Gift Smith. So if you take those away, it's 19-17. So a little under 500 for Staley. And if you look at Harbaugh's record under the 49ers in one-score games, it was 23-11-1. And I would go so far as to say that I think that will be even better with a trainer like Ben Herbert conditioning these guys and ready to make them harder to break so that they don't fold in the fourth quarter. So I do want to give credit to Bucky Brooks, because this is something I've been saying, but he said it with the Believe podcast with Matt Money Smith and my main man, Lo Neal. He said, Bucky Brooks said, no one wants the return of Marty Ball. Power O in your face, Chargers. That's what I'm saying. Defenders still talking about it, like I said earlier. That power. They know what the Chargers are going to run, and they can't stop it. That Power O. We're coming for you. We're going to do what we're going to do. You can't stop it even if you wanted to. That's what I'm looking forward to. What we got under Brandon Staley is this. We're going to do some tricky nonsense or some basic nonsense on first and second down. Okay, now, Herbert, we're in 3rd and 7 or worse. We need you to do some of that Herb magic. Wow, we got that Herb magic. We live for we're off the field now. So, I don't want to see Herbert be a superhero anymore. I want to see Herbert in the luxurious penthouse position of having a rushing attack that is absolutely running it down teams' throats. 3rd and 2, Herb gets to do whatever he wants. He might hand it off. He might scramble. He might throw a short pass. He might throw a long pass. You never know. I want Herbert to be in that luxury. And if he doesn't get it, you know what? We're going to send this defense out there. They're going to dominate you. We're going to get the ball back. And you are in deep trouble, because now we're going to keep running it and running it and running it down your throats till we grind you into the goddamn dirt. That's what I want to see. That's what I see. I'm so excited about this change in philosophy. You don't realize how absolutely I don't want to say that Brandon Staley was dumb, because we know that's not the case, but he tried to reinvent the wheel. It's like me with losing weight. So I always try to reinvent the wheel. Calories in, calories out is bull crap. I'm not following it. And what happened when I finally said, you know what, I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to go get my DEXA scan. I'm going to give it a try. I didn't lose any weight. I said that calories in, calories out nonsense does not work. Then I got another DEXA scan. You know what happened? I put on 4 pounds of muscle in 1 month, and I said this before, and I lost 7 pounds of fat. I did what the Giants that came before me, I stood on their shoulders, and I did a great job in 1 month, losing fat and gaining muscle. This guy, Staley, did not stand on the shoulders of giants, but you know what? You know who does stand on the shoulders of giants? Jim Harbaugh stands on the shoulders of giants. He has mentors that he follows what they say. He knows what works. He ain't going to he's not going to absolutely try to change something that's not broke. He's going to go with what works. Common sense. And the problem with guys like Staley and these new guys, their common sense is a little bit too common. That's why they can't beat an old school great like Andy Reid. They can't beat an old school great like Bill Belichick, because they do what works for years and years. They don't change. These other teams, they can't win because they're not doing what they're supposed to do. Now that Jim Harbaugh is here, the Chargers are going back to that Marty era football, and they're going to do what they're supposed to do, and they're going to do what works. Consistently, should be in the playoffs and get a chance at the Super Bowl. That's all you can ask for. But anyway, that was just a little rant. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.